In this video, we'll talk about what life purpose is. Most people have no idea what they'd like to pursue or do with their lives. This is not just high school graduates full of aspiring, wonderful dreams. In fact, it's most adults, even after finishing school, getting a job, and making steady money. There's still room for clearly defining what their life purpose is. In fact, it's a conflict that often begins in adult life. Seemingly simple questions like, what do I want to do with my life? What am I passionate about? And how can I make my life better? Are all questions that pop into adult minds looking for ways to identify what they would like to do with their lives. In other words, they still haven't been able to identify their life purpose. But is this really as complicated as it seems? Well, yes and no. To put it simply, everyone exists on Earth for an unspecified duration of time. People do different things during that time, with some being important and others not so much. Among these things, it's the important things which give life its meaning and sense of fulfillment. The unimportant ones are just a way to kill time. To make matters a little more complicated, ignorance towards their true selves is something that most people live with for a long time. They set up their lives based on others' expectations and norms, and in doing so may never be able to discover their true selves. Others who set out on the path to self-discovery find out that the journey is neither easy nor pleasant. In fact, there are plenty of hurdles along the way. When you set out to find your life purpose, it means that you hold yourself, your set of beliefs and values, and your likes and interests as top priority. You look for things that make you truly happy, or rather fulfilled. This also means that on the way, you're going to displease others since you no longer want to live your life by their dictates. Yes, this journey can include confusion, conflict, some fear, quite a bit of misunderstanding, and a lot of doubt along the way. And last but not least, it also involves revisiting many choices you've made in life earlier. Think of it as spring cleaning of the mind that will ultimately lead to your life's true purpose. So, what is life purpose, really? Life purpose is a lot of things, but foremost, it's the first step to living your life the most conscious way. Here's one way to look at it. You may be very busy with a lot of chores and tasks every day. But if you don't have a purpose intended for those tasks, then every effort you make will mean very little in the end. So basically, the goal in the end may have nothing to do with your purpose. This means that you could pursue your current goals for the next so many years and then come to realize that this wasn't what you wanted in the first place. On the contrary, if you have a life purpose, then that's how you learn to lead a conscious life. Your efforts get directed towards something and you enjoy every minute of it. And although this doesn't imply that your problems disappear, at least now you know why you're trying to find a way around those problems. You also know that you've discovered your life purpose when you feel energized in all your endeavors. You no longer dread the daily grind, but are eager to get your day started and get as much done as you possibly can. How do you measure life purpose? There can be a few determinants in this regard. For starters, there's making sacrifices. Achieving anything that's worth achieving involves sacrifices. Everything comes at a cost, and very few things are uplifting or pleasurable all the time. The question that arises here is, what sacrifice or struggle are you ready to make or tolerate? If you find yourself giving in at the slightest chance of pressure, then obviously this choice isn't your life purpose. But if you're willing to ride through the rough patches and stick with it no matter what, then you may be onto something. This is because what ultimately determines your ability to commit to something shows how much you care about that thing and how much it means to you. For instance, if you wish to become a successful entrepreneur, but aren't good at handling failure, you won't get far. Or say your dream is to become a professional artist and don't like to see your work criticized or rejected, then there's not much scope for you out there. But if the same purposes keep you going despite unpleasant experiences, staying awake long nights or riding out the bad days, then you may have discovered what you're really cut out for. You can also determine if you found your life purpose if you find sheer joy in doing something now that you also enjoyed doing as a child. Say you enjoyed writing as a child and only rediscovered the same joy of writing later on in life. A lot of times people tend to lose touch with what they loved when they were younger. Oftentimes, it has a lot to do with the social pressures of adolescence or the professional pressure of young adulthood, which wrings the passion right out of them. Instead, what remains behind is the lesson that the only reason to do anything is if there's a tangible reward for it. But if you can look beyond the physical reward for something and learn to enjoy the experience instead, it could be your true calling. Interestingly enough, vulnerability can also often point you in the direction of your real passion. If you're passionate about something, then you risk making mistakes to improve yourself. Making mistakes leads to embarrassment, and if becoming embarrassed stops you from doing something that you really want to do, then you should rethink your life purpose. Your real life purpose won't let you care about getting embarrassed. It won't concern itself with what others think of you, but urge you to pursue it instead. When people feel like they've got no sense of direction or any purpose in life, it's because they don't know what's important to them. And when you don't know what's important to you, then you're just taking on other people's values and following their priorities instead of your own. And this is exactly what this video aims to correct so that you can live your own life based on what's important to you and not what others think is good for you. In this video, we'll learn about the importance of finding meaning in life. Let's revisit the idea of a conscious life once more. If you find meaning in your life, you'll be able to learn your purpose in this world. Experts believe that you can live your life in two ways. The first says that if you're conscious, you'll live along the same lines as others, yet you'll experience the same things differently. The second way to live is to live unconsciously. Broadly speaking, if you live like that, life will just happen to you. Think of it as a giant wave that keeps pushing you forward. You have no control over where you're going or why you're going there. In fact, the only thing certain about this situation is that you're just going with the flow. This kind of life isn't exactly ideal since you don't have much say in it, yet many of us live this way. When you learn the meaning of life, you have a better sense of your purpose. You tend to understand why you're in this world. Just like that, you will have a clearer view of how you can contribute to the world. If you don't know your purpose, you'll hate getting out of bed. Your motivation to last through the week would be looking forward to the weekend. Put you in a challenging situation and you'll feel burnt out before you even tried anything worth trying. On the other hand, if you lead a meaningful life, you'll love the grind. Here are some tips on why it's important to find the meaning in life. 1. Gives clarity and focus. Look around yourself. You'll see so many people running after a host of popular things. Common offenders include earning more money, getting a house, then getting an even bigger house. Goals also include getting a car, the latest technology, and everything along those lines. Incidentally, all these are also material gains and rewards. And while they may seem very important to you right now, do they really matter that much in the long run? How about looking for something that you're passionate about instead? Something that you thoroughly enjoy doing, something that brings out the best in you. It isn't uncommon that while running after money and luxuries, you become sidetracked from your real purpose. Finding your life purpose will help you become aware of the things that are important. Once you learn to look past these common needs, you'll see what's important. It'll help you set your goals and eliminate unimportant things from your life. If you keep pursuing things you don't need, knowingly or unknowingly, you'll end up nowhere. By distinguishing between the important and unimportant, you won't feel lost and unaccomplished in 20 years' time. You can also achieve success by finding the meaning in your life. Remember this one thing: your success will be different from others. For you, success might be becoming the next Newton. For someone else, it might be owning the latest Audi. But worry not. This is exactly what meaning brings in your life: uniqueness and contentment. Every day you have to become a better version of yourself. You have to get up and conquer the world. To achieve, succeed, or excel, you have to first find the meaning in your life. 2. Teaches what defines you. Have you ever felt that external factors are defining who you are? That you're being told what works for you instead of you figuring it out for yourself? Why does this happen? Probably because you don't have a life purpose or haven't figured it out yet. When you lead a meaningless life, society starts to define you, and the people around you shape you. If you keep living by others' definitions of you, you'll find yourself in unfulfilling jobs and situations. Being human, we all need a mean of sustenance. However, you may be stuck in a job that you hate. You needed a job, so you got whatever was out there. The only reason you may have landed this job is because someone else recommended you for the position. The result is that you end up going to your workplace tired and bored, surrounded by people you have nothing in common with, all because you had no direction in life. You just needed a job. But as soon as you find some life purpose, you can work towards a career that better fits your purpose. If you're leading a meaningful life, your means and sustenance can also become your passion. You can find yourself in a workplace that you enjoy and coworkers who are compatible with you. Once you have a meaning and a purpose, you'll clearly see the people you need. In addition, you'll also be able to cut out the people who are toxic. It's important to find compatibility in people and surround yourself with those who support your meaning. Being around like-minded individuals who can help you become your best self can add even more to your life purpose. 3, keeps you connected with the present. The more you engage in a purposeful life, the more it grows with you. At the same time, it also makes you happier. Remember how we talked about the important versus the unimportant? Well, a purposeful life will no doubt be very different from the pleasurable, unimportant life that is transient, current, and illusory. In contrast, a meaningful life can become demanding and quite often a stressful one. More than worldly goods and luxuries, it requires planning, patience, ownership of actions, and the responsibility and the consequences of choices made. It's definitely not as accommodating as a pleasurable life because purpose requires you to be patient, delay gratification, and think for the long term. When you do all of this, it keeps you connected to the present. What this means is that you learn to live the best you can in the present. Your purpose keeps you grounded to your present rather than postponing it into the future. Say you're working on a book and need to get it done by a specific time. Now, you also have a family, kids, and other responsibilities to see. Your purpose in this case is to get the book written. So despite other commitments, you make your best effort to give time to your book. At the end of the day, you'll know that you were able to squeeze time for what you love to do and fulfill your purpose, even though in a small way. It's one small step forwards towards completing a project which means something to you. A connection to the present also helps you stay focused, passionate, and gratified with what you have. Focused because you know how to stay away from distractions. Passionate because it urges you on to reach your full potential. And gratified because you're living a value-based life. In this video, we'll talk about why it's hard to find a purpose in life. When you think about it, it seems easy enough to find yourself. However, once you put this thought into action, things can quickly become hard. When you're looking for meaning or purpose in life, there are many obstacles that you face. This seemingly easy task can take quite a while for it to sort out. Here are some common issues that may be preventing you from discovering your life purpose. Societal influence. It's quite possible that you've already adopted the ways of society. Our society has certain standards through which we judge people, and it's due to these standards why some people are popular and others are not. Perhaps societal influence is most impressionable in young adults. For example, if you're a high school student, you would see these factors around you. When you see that being a football player makes you popular, that's what you may want to be. Or you may want to be a cheerleader since they seem to be equally popular. Once you see this, you strive for the purpose that has been set by people around you. All this might not appeal to you or it may not be your calling. However, you give in to the influence and ignore your route to self-discovery. Say your purpose in life might be to be the next Steve Jobs. However, in an attempt to be as cool as the football player, you lose yourself behind. And societal influence doesn't end there. In fact, for many, it goes on beyond their adolescent years and pursues them even in their advanced years, always preventing them from finding their true calling. Low self-esteem, self-worth. This one is a real dilemma. How do you expect to love yourself if you've never been loved by others, or you've never been told what you're worthy of? For many people, the road to self-discovery can be tough without self-love. If you've been criticized by everyone around you all your life, it can be hard for you to love yourself. It's possible that you've never been appreciated in your life for what you are. People around you may have always told you that someone else was better than you. For instance, your parents may have always compared you with your cousins, friends, or other peers. Your teachers may have told you how everyone else in the class was better than you. Or your boss has been quick to criticize your flaws, but shown little or no appreciation for your work. This negative feedback can really stop you from being true to yourself. In fact, it becomes harder to find your purpose until you love yourself unconditionally. Quite simply, how else will you learn about the things you care about or things that matter to you? To find your purpose, you have to give time to yourself. If you don't consider yourself worthy of your own time and attention, you're in a bad place. Because of all these factors, self-love becomes an impossible task. You constantly criticize your own self by comparing yourself to others. And in addition to that, you don't think that you're good at anything. Lack of freedom to dream. Not everyone gets to follow their dreams, and it becomes one of the greatest factors stopping you from finding your purpose. Your purpose might lie in something that is considered unrealistic by others. Let's say you want to be a photographer, yet everyone keeps telling you that that isn't a very economic decision. They asked you how you'd feed your family. They also remind you of the increasing expenses and how your passion isn't going to be compatible with your finances. Even your parents have better options decided for you. They tell you that there are other jobs that will get you the money. If you want to do something unconventional, they tell you how there is no scope for it. With this constant discouragement to follow your dreams, you can't ever discover yourself. You will lose the will to find what you were born to do. Then there are certain things that you're required to do by a certain age. You're expected to get a degree by a certain age and then settle down. It all comes down to the societal norms once again. In a race to get a degree and start a career, you forget to listen to your calling. Your calling is the true you. It's something that makes you. Once you respond to that, you will find your purpose. But if you're not given a chance to even think about following your dreams, how can you achieve them? Fear of the dark side. Everyone has a dark side. People who come to terms with their dark side are the most successful ones. You can ignore this side of yours, but you can't make it go away. Until you address it, this side will always remain. As long as it's present, this side hinders you from discovering your purpose. The reason why you don't find your purpose is because you're scared to get in touch with this side, and you don't want others to see it either. You think that if you keep hiding it, it will stop existing, but this isn't true. Your dark side is a portrait of your deficiencies. It represents your flaws and your failures. It encompasses the selfish and wrong desires that you have. When you're on a journey of self-discovery, you'll have to encounter this side. Yet, the fear of this side keeps you from trying to find your purpose. You fail to understand that this side can help you excel. Once you enlighten this side of yours, you can be your best self. The problem is that you do not want those around you to see that you have this side. It's your little secret. You're even afraid to see it yourself. How can you, a responsible father, have any selfish desire? How can you, a hardworking student, fail at being an honest person? You're too scared to face these questions. Yet it all makes sense. You find solace in looking at the bright side of yourself. This is where your comfort zone lies. It's this side that makes you feel good about yourself. Despite this side will never help you find your ultimate purpose. Another aspect of this dark side is a fear of questions you don't have answers to. It's easy and comfortable to be faced with questions that you have answers to, but it's natural to feel hesitant facing questions you can't answer. On the road to self-discovery, there's a lot of questions you can't always answer. The thought of facing these questions scares you, and that's why you try to avoid them. You become accustomed to easy knowledge that you have for yourself, and because of this, you don't want to be in an ambiguous situation. How can I not know this about myself? This is what stops you from finding your purpose. So, if you somehow manage to cross all these obstacles, you can find your purpose. It's just a constant battle with yourself and your deepest fears. If you win it, you're golden. In this video, we'll talk about happiness versus fulfillment. Happiness is a code that all humans have. It's deemed essential, and everyone seems to believe it. In fact, it's gained a religion-like reverence that everyone follows. But happiness is something that is relatively subjective. It can be big, small, long-term, or short-term. And since it's more of a general term, everyone can relate to it. Some common things that make everyone happy are family, career, a good job, and money. Fulfillment, on the other hand, is something more personal. It's yours. And as such, fulfillment for everyone is different. You can experience fulfillment when you pursue something you're passionate about, such as a goal or a dream. Perhaps you're all about helping others, such as volunteering, or maybe you're that person who engages in activities promoting continuous growth and learning. If you compare the two, you'll notice that fulfillment has a much deeper and longer lasting effect than happiness. Fulfillment is what you need to strive for. Why? Here's why. Fulfillment is unique to you. The foremost reason why you should opt for fulfillment is that it's something unique to you. It's something that sets you apart from others around you. Maybe eating right and exercising is what fulfills you, as you know you're doing something right to improve your overall health. Your friend, on the other hand, may find workouts not so fulfilling, as better health may not be what they are looking for. To them, your workout sessions together may just be a drag. So while happiness is something that everyone feels the same way about, fulfillment will give you a unique sense of being and purpose. In fact, unlike happiness, which is strictly a feeling, fulfillment is something that you attain by investing time and effort. It's a feeling of hard work and dedication that leads to the accomplishment of your goals. In its own way, fulfillment makes you a complete person. In terms of their time spans, happiness is a fleeting, short-term sensation, while fulfillment is eternal. Being short-term, happiness isn't realistically sustainable. After all, how many people do you know who are actually happy all the time? Probably not that many. But when you compare it to fulfillment, you may know quite a few who are very, very content with what they have achieved. This is because the idea of fulfillment makes it okay to not be happy all the time. It tells you that things will be okay even if you're going through a rough patch. Fulfillment gets etched in your brain and remains with you for a very long time. For example, you do something such as blogging, which gives you a feeling of fulfillment. If being a lifestyle blogger makes you feel fulfilled, you'll invest all your creativity and energy into being one. On the way, you'll surely have some bad days. Everyone does. Yet, you'll always have the contentment in your heart that you are doing something purposeful. With happiness, you never know how long you're going to be happy for. If you're happy now, you could hear some upsetting news making happiness dissipate quickly. Happiness is not as personal, since anything can take it away from you in a matter of seconds. Opposed to that, fulfillment is not affected by incidents, feelings, or people. It belongs to you. It is yours, and you can keep it for as long as you want. Nothing and no one can steal your sense of fulfillment from you. Fulfillment gives meaning to success. Being happy with your success is great. However, this feeling will eventually go away. You might have won an Oscar and felt like you're on top of the world at that moment. However, if it's not something that fulfills you, that award is just a miniature statue in your home. On the contrary, If something makes you feel fulfilled, it gives you joy every day. Happiness is simply not sustainable. Fulfillment is. This is why that's what you should aim for. In addition, if you aim towards fulfillment, you're bound to work hard. If all you want to do is be happy, you don't need to do much. Even being with your favorite person can make you happy. Just like that, listening to any song can make you happy. If you're a foodie, a donut can brighten up your day. Sometimes happiness can make you lazy too. Hanging out with someone you like will make you happy. However, it will distract you from the things that you're supposed to do. When you strive for fulfillment, you will get things done on time. You will suddenly get an urge to get things done. At the end of the day, when everything is done, you'll feel complete. You'll be content knowing that you made something out of your day. Staying in your comfort zone makes you happy, but it won't take you anywhere. To be happy, you can take shortcuts, but you can't do that with fulfillment. This is why you will go the extra mile to be fulfilled. Plus, if you're doing something that fulfills you, you'll also be more willing to try new things. You'll think of all the ways you can get better at it. Suppose your job is fulfilling for you. Now you won't dread the weekdays. You may even think of your work even during the weekends. This probably explains really well why some people are always immersed in their work. It happens when you find fulfillment in your work. It makes you content and your life peaceful. Happiness is just one feeling. Happiness is a single feeling. Think of it like a rainbow. It's just one color. On the other hand, fulfillment is made up of so many colors. It's made up of passion, drive, emotion, grief, failure. You don't have to go through all of that to feel fulfilled. This is what makes fulfillment so special. There's nothing wrong with looking for happiness, but do you want to miss all the colors of the rainbow for just one color? There are times when you're not exactly happy, but you're fulfilled. For example, if you're working long hours as a doctor, you may not be happy. You may have seen some painful cases throughout the day. You may have even cried when your procedure doesn't go as planned. It could be a day filled with grief, misery, and hard work. Yet at the end of the day, you feel peace at heart. This is because you feel fulfilled. You know that you did something which completes you. It's your purpose in this world, and you do it religiously. For most, this feeling is enough to keep them going. Even when you may not be happy, the feeling of fulfillment drives you on. When you're fulfilled, you always look for ways to get better. You must remember that happiness is an important element in life too. However, it is not as bright a star as fulfillment is.